Hi, this is 𝗙𝗞𝗥𝗔 from Lead Ventures, and we're the official partner to run the Accelerator with Securities Commissions to put together FIKRA. Let me just talk a little bit about FIKRA ACE Accelerator program. It is a program where we're trying to identify potential fintech companies to work with industry partners to come up with proof of concepts to collaborate around the Islamic capital management or just in Islamic finance itself. There's a great cash prize up to 80,000 for potential POC project funding itself. And together with me today, we've got one of the industry partners, which is the YTL-SEA Bank. And we've got Melvin Ooi, who is the CEO of that entity itself. Welcome, Melvin, with us today.
Thanks for having me today. And of course, we are delighted to be part of the FIKRA ACE Accelerator program as an industry partner. And for us, it's always important that the financial inclusions, financial literacy, and of course, one of our main mantra is that how do we build a bank empowering the Malaysian talents for Malaysian by Malaysians. So to us, that's something that is very, very close to our heart. And therefore, when the opportunity arises, while we are not an Islamic bank, but we definitely want to be part of this and help the startups, help the rakyat in that sense. And again, happy to be part of this, happy to play our role, and happy to grow and learn and enjoy the journey together.
So just stepping back a bit, just to kind of ask you, why did YTL go down on this path of building a digital bank? How much are we allowed to know of the approach of the bank, the possible customer segments that you're addressing? Maybe just tell us a little bit about the plans of that.
I think from both the shareholders, both the YTL and SEA, it comes as a natural extensions to their business ecosystem. YTL do have a lot of construction business, cement business, utility business, recently into data center, solar farm. So obviously, the financial side of it is something that they are always keen, and it will complement their overall business, not just their own, but also their whole ecosystem. Whether it's their supplier, their buyers, so it makes perfect sense. And vice versa for SEA Limited. SEA Limited, we do have Garena, we do have Shopee, we do have the SEA Money. And in fact, in Indonesia, Philippines, and Singapore, there are already a digital bank partly owned by SEA. So again, it's part of the regional expansions whereby again, always start from the ecosystem. How do we support the Garena user? How do we support the Shopee buyers and sellers? How do we enable them to do more? And of course, going beyond, how do we do more as a whole and for the people? Because if you already build it, why not extend it, build it bigger? You have that economy of scale. You have the educations already out. And why not do more for the people? And again, digital bank being digital bank is all about cost to serve. How do you expand that, increase that, and the marginal gain will be more and more going by that route.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So it's all about cost to serve. So I don't think a digital bank will try and do everything under the sun like a conventional bank. So with this program, we're trying to identify potential startup that could possibly co-create or work on POCs with your entity itself, because it's giving some ideas on some of focus areas you're looking to basically potentially collaborate with outsiders. What will be key areas that you want to see collaborations or POCs on?
So Bikesh, you hit the nail at its head, really, because obviously we have no intention nor wanting to be all and end all. It's always important that we know where our positioning, grow from where our core business is, and expand from there. And to that point, even as we do have the license to operate going forward, it doesn't mean that we have to do everything ourselves. That means that either at the top end of IPO, M&A, do we really need to do that at this point of time? and vice versa at the other side of the very creative, very dynamic fintech, where do we need to do everything ourselves? So it's always critical that we understand where our core is, understand what we are good at, and also something that is always close to my heart is, where's our competitive advantage? If we have that, we should leverage and do that. If we don't, or maybe not now, then obviously partnering with others, collaborate with others, whether it's startup or others, makes a lot of sense, because you can't be all and all. And also in this environment, in this market, and or even in this region, super app sounds fantastic. It sounds great, but is the people really ready for that? And to be fair, as long as you are good at what you do, and you can enable your partners to do more and vice versa, then that makes a lot of sense. And hence, if it's from the startup point of view, is it from supporting us in a certain solutions? Like I said, we want to operate as a bank, but we can't operate everything on our own. It could be something a bit more detached, whereby it's maybe a facility management, maybe a hiring side, which as a bank, I can do that, but I don't need to do that myself. It's not my core business. Or it could be a certain business, for example, when we need to onboard our customer, obviously you need eKYC, AML, CDD, you need to do a lot of other checks. And once they are onboarded, you have to continuously monitoring the transactions, the fraud, the AML, and also study their patterns, understanding what are the most personalized and customized ways of giving them the best solutions and services. Obviously, in the incumbent bank, they have a RM. If you're big enough, they have an RM, they'll sit with you, they'll understand the situations, then they will provide the best solutions. But in the digital world, with the digital footprint that you have, with your consent, what can we do? How can we cater to your need? And therefore, that's where, if, for example, we feel that, hey, there's a portion on authentications that it's important to ensure that you find your whole process, your whole offering through your business. It will be very seamless if the whole authentication can be easier. I mean, unfortunately, whether it's the current bank, whether it's some of the tech company out there, even comes to payment, it's a pain, whereby it will make you confirm, yes, I want to do this, I want to use this particular source of fund, yes, confirm again, then key in the password and whatnot, and some even have to log into the other website, and you maybe after 3-4 times of confirming it, then with OTP, with certain PIN, with biometric, with a confirmation letter, with a OTP again, that has happened. The process in itself is not efficient. The process in itself has a lot of layers that bound for breakage, and the process itself also so inhuman in a way that you find that, hey, I'm just trying to send someone at $10,000 or $5,000 of payment. Why do you make my life so difficult? Why can't it be a lot simpler, easier, and intuitive? So in that sense, a simple thing of authentication, customer identity authentication management, if we can do well, if we know how to do, we do it very well, it's very advantageous of using us to do it, then of course we can do it ourselves. But if we can't, or we don't profess to be number one in it, and to be fair, we don't have to be one as well, then who can help us on this CIAM? Who can make the whole authentication a lot seamless, but in the same time, a lot more secure and trusted by the customer, whereby customer will say that, hey, you have a certain certification, you are using a certain thing. That makes a lot of sense. And unfortunately, some of the banks or payment options at times is like, you log into the app, You key in the amount, you make sure that you have to key in a few times to pick the source of fund. Then when you want to make that payment, then they'll still say, are you sure? Yes. Oh, please do an OTP. Then you click from the app, it gives you an OTP, then you re-key in the number. I think the only thing that they make sure that you are patient enough. You are a very patient human. You're not a robot. So does that make sense? Does that inspire trust and security and imagine the person who has to do it 10 times, 100 times a day? It's so painful, and it becomes numb towards the end of the day, whereby there's a very robot, I'll do this. So, and actually what you want that person to do is really to ensure that the transaction is correct, the payee name is correct, you pick from the right account, but you ended up making that person go through so much of process. The only thing that that person cares about by the end of a very long, tiring working day is to ensure that he key in the right OTP, which kind of defeat the entire purpose. So to me, that is very important. If we can do well, we should do it. And if we have that competitive advantage, let's do that. But if we can't, and why be all and end all? Why not get others to do it? So in that sense, that is, I talk about, there are parts where they are not our core business. If they are good, we are more than happy to work with them. There are parts where it helps my business, where if we are not the best in doing it, but someone has a better solutions than us, then why not partner with them? Or
so even things around credit scoring, would you say that you're always looking for better ways to score an individual for possible lending deals? That would be something.
Anything that makes it easier for my customer to come in to put money in, or to take money out, or anywhere in between. Anything. It doesn't have to be must be a credit scoring system. It must be a loan origination account. It must be a eKYC tool. Because this is what we see now. But it doesn't mean 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, things will be exactly the same. So in that sense, anything that helps my customer put money in easier, faster, makes more sense. Anything that helps my customers to take money out, whether it's in the form of a loan or anything else, then, and anywhere in between, even it's just transferring, getting the profile updated, anything. And it could also be in between, means that the digital literacy, financial literacy can help to improve that. That makes people, this makes sense. I like this way. It works. And also the last piece is that for the product offering that we may not have, but they are complementary to us, then obviously it makes sense. It could be as simple as even offering the same product. If, for example, someone wants to take an unsecured loan from us, if through our CDE, credit decisioning engine, we decided that, you are not bad, but this is your rate. But if you choose not to work with us, or you want a different providers comparison, these are another 5 that you can go through. And in fact, if I not just give you the 5 and the rate and the terms and conditions, if you say, hey, I like this one, and the whole process of taking that loan, it's very easy, that is perfect. Because to someone who wants to take a loan, obviously the whole rate it's important, the terms and conditions behind it is important, but more than that is how easy and how convenient do I pass my information around. If I have to go to every single provider physically, drive my car there, bring all my documentations there, and they need a certified true copy, they can't take anything that's just a photocopy or a digital copy, it's a chore. And they just want to take a loan. Why are you making them as if they want to apply to be a prime minister? So it has to be simple. And also, if that makes sense for our customers, and how fast can you disperse the fund? And if those things are the values and the convenience and the personalizations that you can do for the customer, and you can partner with those who can go behind the scene. Maybe my risk appetite is a bit high or a bit low versus others, and we help each other, because end of the day, you want to be able to give a service to your customer, and if it goes through you, you will get a certain revenue cut out of it. You will also be able to understand what makes sense, what doesn't. You get that additional data point. And you also make the customer a lot simpler, easier, where they'll come back and say that if ever I need another loan again, 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, I will go with you because you make my life a lot easier. And whoever is part of our ecosystem or part of our partners will find it fantastic, because I'm driving sales to them. I'm become another channel for them, and vice versa. They will be more than happy to have me within their own ecosystem myself. Then that's where the whole collaboration partnership works. And to me, that three parts, things that I may not be my core, someone can help me, love it. Things that is my core, I want to do, but to make it easier, faster, cheaper, more effective for me, love it. Things that is in my collaborative segment where we can help each other get into each other's ecosystem, and together with more data, we help each other more. Makes sense. So these three parts, if any partners can come in, any startups will say that, hey, Melvin, I can do this and this, or maybe I just do one of this, then it makes sense. And we do want to explore that and see how do we work together on in that
That's
collaboration.
very impressive. I think at a point of time, I forgot I was speaking to a CEO of a digital bank. You assume, like, every bank is always like keeping things within and not willing to kind of share it across, to say that even if I don't have a product, you can bring something else as long as it's for my customer. That is really nice to hear, that you're thinking about the customer first and not your stakeholders and shareholders first, which what most incumbents usually do. So just that train of thought for what the YTL-SEA Consortium is trying to do with your banks is quite amazing. So I guess anything that, I like how you simplified it, right? Anything that allows them to put money in and take money out with a new product, improve ways, just different or better experiences, is something that you are looking for. That's basically a great way to kind of summarize that. Any specific expectations you have working with startups?
So a few things really. One is, of course, because we are digital, obviously I can't work with anyone who is too analog. So that's one on the tech side of it, the process side of it. Then that's critical. Otherwise, it will be a bit painful. Second, it's also the culture, the thinking, the DNA. Because if we want to do the same old thing like the bank, then we shouldn't be doing this. Then maybe we should not call ourselves a digital bank. We should just call ourselves we are a bank that digitalizes the process. So process digitalization bank. So we shouldn't be doing that. At least that's my point of view. We should only be going into a segment that traditionally doesn't make sense because of the cost factor, because of the convenience, because of the reach and whatnot. So therefore, to us, then is that how do we reach out to this customer? How do we work better with this customer? And how do we work within that ecosystem that makes sense for everyone? And therefore, it's literally very critical that the people who we want to work with, they must have the same mindset that, hey, if I'm just going to improve the process for a bit, I'm helping you for your physical statement. I might not want a physical statement, but if they come in and say that, hey, there is an easier, different way of doing a digital statement, or in fact, you don't call it digital statement, you call it something else, then it may make sense. And if it works for us, work for them, that's fantastic. So it's critical that from the tech process point of view, has to be quite digital. From a thinking process and how do you push the envelope has to be aligned. And thirdly, of course, how do we help each other so that it becomes sustainable? If it's something that they can only help me, which is great, I'm happy for that, but what do I give back to them? And vice versa. then it doesn't make sense. It's not sustainable. So it has to be something that is sustainable, collaborative, complementary, and if it meets all three, then of course we have a marriage made in heaven or made in KL.
But the product has to be already existing. You don't want someone to pitch you a figment of their imagination that they're about to build, but they already have something.
So obviously, if that the product is already there, and they are willing, then that is fantastic. It's the easiest way to go ahead with, because the speed to market, the timeline to implement is a lot faster. But if it's I won't call it a figment of imagination, but more on, I have a fantastic idea. I already built a simple basic capability that can cater for it. I might not be able to scale it up yet, but I want to test it out. I want someone to work with me to have this proof of concept happens. If it's not overly difficult, because we do need to look at the whole prioritizations and whatnot, taking that aside, if it makes perfect sense, it's good. Even though there's no one out there done it before, why not? Why not? Let's try it out. Because again, same thing, even in our own organizations, I'm challenging my colleagues to first think about why. If you do this thing, if the market is doing this thing, why? Why do we want to do this? Why do we want to do it this way? Why do we want to do it that way? So first thing is understand why. Then from there, then understand how do I do it differently? Whether it's because by doing differently, it's a blue ocean, no one out there is doing it, fantastic. Or I can do it so cheap, so cost effective that I have a very healthy room of margin that I can play with, and therefore the UE is fantastic. Or by doing this, it makes my process a lot more effective, a lot more seamless. Then why not? Then that's the thinking. Start with why, then go into how do we do it differently, and last, what are we trying to do? Yeah, is it something for customer? Is it something for internal use? Then from there, then if we can answer it well, we have a good story. It makes sense. It fits into our prioritization list. It fits into our product roadmap. Then that's where you don't have to be tell me the ROI. How do I make money after this? When can I get this out of this? Then that's still a very old school of doing. Nothing wrong. It works. It's just that at times money is important. It's prerequisite. You must make money. You must be sustainable. That's prerequisite. But you cannot let that lead the entire thinking, because allowing that to lead the entire thinking comes up with undesirable results. So we need to be an organization driven by purpose, not driven by pure dollar and cent.
Well, this conversation has been a breath of fresh air. I think this is why we can actually see when a non-bank becomes a bank, the way you think, the way you prioritize and want to work with people, it's very different from what we see in the industry. So we're really looking forward to having you as part of our industry partners with the FIKRA program, and can't wait to see what startups are going to pitch and potentially do POCs with you. Together with me, we have Melvin Ooi from the YTL-SEA Bank itself. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm 𝗞𝗥𝗔 from Lead Ventures, running the ACE Accelerator program by FIKRA. I hope you would basically send your submissions in to potentially be one of the collaborators with our industry partners here itself. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Goodbye.